Thank you for coming. How was the morning session? How was the morning session? Okay, fantastic. It really is great to sort of see you all here. It's bright up here, but this is exactly the right time for us to connect and collaborate here at Google Next to really understand and shape our futures in real time. I'd say in the 25 years that I've been at Deloitte, got to do many, many exciting things in many exciting places with great clients, but the last 19 months working with Alphabet Google and the Google Cloud team has been one of the most intellectually enriching times of my career, but also I found myself targeting market impact at a scale that added a comma, honestly. It's a watermark high for me. It's been a great and successful partnership with Google over the last 19 months, and we are very happy that we received Google Cloud's Global Services Partner of the Year. This award is really a recognition of real laser focus. As many of you know, a great team, a ton of hard work, and really unwavering commitment to collaborating and leveraging our collective strengths of both Google Cloud and what Deloitte can bring to our clients to really reimagine, many of you, reimagine your businesses and execute with technology-enabled innovations. We have multiple client-centric solutions. The press has hit it recently, CRN News last week. We issued a press release as well. These are important because it talks to the kinds of impact and value we can bring to your clients, to you as clients every day. Google Cloud, SAP, and Deloitte have rich histories with one another, and we've come together and really are committed to working with you to take advantage of the business opportunities that you see, that we see, and take advantage and overcome the challenges that many of our business leaders face. To get us in sort of the right mindset for the panel and the discussion, I wanted to share a powerful message on how fast the world is changing. We've seen this many, many times, but it's really impacting virtually every aspect of our lives. And with two amazing young children, 9 and 11, at home, and for those of you who are parents in the audience, I'm guaranteed this video will make you pause for a minute and think about the world we are creating for them to thrive in. So without further ado, let's go to the video.
This is Alex. She's 5 years old, and she was born into a digital world at the edge of a technological singularity, where she could live to be 150 years old. Imagine all the advances of the last 150 years, each discovery building on the last to alter the way we live, relate, consume, and perceive. For Alex, that same amount of industrial and societal change will happen in her next 15. She'll purchase digital rights from brands to create her own clothing, furniture, and decor with digital fabrics. She'll eat organically balanced food that was grown using nanotech. She'll know someone whose life was saved by a 3D printed organ implanted by a doctor operating remotely. She'll carry safer, digitally integrated ID and forms of payment, driven by the blockchain of everything. And that's just until she's 20. She still has 130 years to go. As she enters the workforce, she'll take advantage of autonomous vehicles and rideshare programs, which will alter our entire transportation infrastructure. She'll have robotic and AI-driven support tools, and even colleagues. The very notion of an employee will change. All these advancements will open us up to a new world of imagined possibilities. What role will your enterprise play in creating this world? Her world. You'll need to embrace it as a freely moving digital enterprise, shedding your technical debt. If your company is designed for this decade, it won't outlast it. The pace of change will continue to accelerate. Enterprises will have to adapt faster, all to serve the wants and needs of a 5-year-old. Her future and your future are linked. And leading that future will be your digital enterprise. It's time to reimagine your business model, your organization, your world. It's time to reimagine everything.
I'd like to now invite on stage 3 business leaders, change agents, and real true collaborators and personal friends of mine, Kevinish Bharani, Jan Walls, and Pavan Srivastava. So thank you guys for joining us today. Can you please maybe start with just a little bit of background, your current role? And I know all of you are very deep and steeped in SAP, so share a little bit about that with us.
All right, Pavan Chavez. I'm part of our technology practice, and I've been doing work around SAP for the last 20 years. Definitely focus more around using the innovative technologies around SAP and cloud and SAP HANA to transform the business. And definitely we are going through an exciting time right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Jan Walls, for Deloitte, I lead our global SAP practice. Been working on SAP programs since I was 15, I think. Right? So long time for the firm. I also led our US practice during the days of up and coming S4HANA. Had to transform our own practice, frankly, to be able to better serve our customers as well.
Fantastic.
So excited to be here.
Perfect. And I'm Kevin Bharani. I manage global alliances for Google Cloud, and also have a long history of working with SAP and SAP customers for the last 15 plus years.
Fantastic. So maybe we'll start with you, Kevin. Very keen to hear about what you're seeing, relevant trends, and sort of the latest headlines between SAP and Google and your relationship.
So we've made tremendous progress over the last year since this partnership was announced. In fact, many of you have seen the video yesterday in Diane Green's keynote from Bernd Leukert, the head of engineering at SAP, in which he really underscores that the relationship is, the core foundation is a deep relationship between the engineering teams that are sitting side by side, helping to co-innovate and optimize our solutions to better support SAP products. And so I'll give you some examples. Over the course of the last year, our customers were asking for all of the SAP solutions to be certified for Google Cloud, and we've done virtually all of the SAP solutions are certified now. In fact, many of them were asking for very large landscapes for the large HANA instances, and we announced at SAP Sapphire in June 4 terabyte availability. We now announced at Google Next this week availability of 7 terabytes and natively up to 18 terabytes by the end of next year, so we can handle the largest customers in the world. We are also, for customers that need something very short-term, have a bare metal option up to 20 terabytes. So very significant improvement on the instance sizes in terms of availability, but we're also co-innovating with SAP. We've done things like integrated BigQuery, Google BigQuery with SAP HANA, so we can enable petabyte scale for SAP HANA and enable use cases where large retailers are looking at tremendous amount of data and want to do dynamic upselling and cross-selling or genomic profiling. We're working with SAP in areas around Android. So within the core SAP platform, the SAP Cloud Platform, you can develop native experiences in Android. And we're working in areas like machine learning, embedding that into the core business process of SAP applications.
And Kevin, just watching the speed at which Google has moved into the SAP space, it's been nothing short of impressive, because if you go 24 months ago, all that you described, it's happened in that time horizon, and it's pretty amazing just to see the engineering talent. You know, Pavan, I know you've been working closely with Google for quite a while at this point too, right? Close to 2 years. Let me ask you, what does it mean for Deloitte, in your mind, to be not only a premier partner, but also to have been acknowledged by Kevin and the team around the Global Services Partner of the Year?
Yeah, and I think first of all, it's a great honor to be the premium partner, and also excited to get the news around us being the Global Partner of the Year, which is amazing, and I think it has come at the right time. What that really means to us is we are committed to do a lot more investment into this area and build our capabilities around Google Cloud Platform. And the reality is our clients are going through this digital transformation with SAP's new product line, S4HANA. And for over the next 7 years, we would see a lot of momentum in the market around that area, which means they are expecting us to help them adapt to these technologies and the cloud platform together. Obviously, understanding the business benefit of how they can leverage cloud platform capabilities for business, how to transform, adapt it, which also means we are heavily investing in this area. And Google Cloud Platform is one of the important aspects of our go-to-market strategy. So this partnership really means that we have the highest level of access within Google about the tools, technologies, innovation, support, and leadership commitment to go into the market. And that is what we are going to bring to our clients to transform their business. Not only that, with that backdrop, we have also announced our collaboration and alliance with Google to bring our industry expertise, our vast experience around SAP implementation, our talent pool, as well as Google Cloud innovative technology to help client extend the digital core platform capability by leveraging Google machine learning and analytics capabilities. So really excited about this partnership.
Fantastic, and I know, Jan, you sort of predicted this tsunami that we're seeing. I was sort of in the room. I know Kevin was at SAP at the time. This was quite a while ago. I might ask you for stock picks later, but really, what does SAP's sort of partnership and market relationship with Google, what does that mean to our collective SAP clients and to some of the prospective clients out in the audience?
Yeah, so SAP, of course, has a lot of tools and accelerators available that we utilize as well to better serve our customers and to build basically on top of that. Now you add Google to the mix. Frankly, that's going to add a lot of power as well, and additional tools and accelerators that will come available over the next months and years, basically. Then some of that is still taking shape, and frankly, it enables us to do things for our customers that simply weren't possible before.
Fantastic. And I think, Kevin, fair to ask you a similar line of thinking. What does the Deloitte market relationship with Google, what does that mean for our collective SAP clients from your perspective?
I think there's tremendous value for clients in that Deloitte has a long history of working with SAP clients and understanding how to manage the landscapes. In fact, Deloitte's one of the largest systems integrators around SAP in the world, and that's what we particularly found attractive. But then when you think of the journey to the cloud, there's multiple steps. The first is the migration, and the ability to de-risk it for clients with prepackaged migration services from Deloitte, combined with the next leg of the journey when customers are looking at transformation. How do I change my business processes, leveraging machine learning and analytics? That generally involves a deep requirement around industry business process. And so Deloitte's industry DNA is also something that's an important part of this solution. And then lastly, a number of customers just want a managed service. They want to move their solutions, their ERP solutions, as for HANA example, into the cloud, and they want to essentially outsource it. And so this new offering that we've worked together with the Deloitte team so that there's a turnkey managed service that includes both the management of the landscape as well as bundling in the Google Cloud services all in one turnkey construct for the customer is something we're seeing customers quite interested in.
Fantastic. I know, Jan, you talked a little bit about the offerings that will be created, and I know you certainly, Pavan, have worked sort of tirelessly on this SAP offering construct around digital transformation. Can you share a little bit what does digital transformation mean with SAP on GCP?
Yeah, so essentially, and I think Kevin also touched upon the same topic, our clients are into various stages of the journey, and they are looking our help and Google's help to help them make the business case, because a lot of them are still struggling to make a business case to move into the cloud, get the full benefit of cloud. So essentially, what we did is we already have a very robust SAP implementation services available and operate services available. We laid over our Google and Deloitte cloud capabilities on top of it to create a storefront where we can help client from end to end, building a strategy, building a business case, understanding the benefit of cloud from the business standpoint, not so much from technology only. So initial taking them to the journey to build a business case, build a strategy, and then moving more into the implementation and migration. Some of our clients are doing a lift and shift migration as their first step before they fully realize the value of SAP by moving to S/4HANA. And some of them are starting what we call it a clean ERP, green slate, leaving the legacy behind. So we have built artifact solutions around it. In fact, we had made some strategic acquisition to help client do a lift and shift to Google Cloud Platform. We are also building adapters and integration with the Google Cloud Platform with our tool sets, which makes it very compelling, easy, and seamless. And last but not the least, I think focusing more on managed services and operate business. We are seeing a great momentum right now where clients are adapting Google Cloud Platform, and they need an SI who can bring an end-to-end service to manage and operate them seamlessly, provide the transparency and the tool sets to manage the Google Cloud Platform. So definitely all of those services under one umbrella That's what we are bringing to our clients.
So I think a number of the things, the points you made is talking to the landscape that we see, the market landscape and the needs that our clients are articulating. Where are we, and this is to the group, where are we in the game in terms of how big is that pipeline? How fast is it going to convert? Give us a sense of the velocity that we're likely to see over the next 12, 24 months. Obviously early innings, but the tipping point could be quite quick.
I was gonna save some of my thunder until the last couple of minutes, frankly, right? But, as you know, in Deloitte and in front of SAP as well, before S4 was even called S4, I predicted that there was going to be a tsunami of opportunity, basically around S4. Even put an exact date to it, and I was proven right. But the interesting thing is, what most of the people in Deloitte don't remember, I actually made a second prediction then, where the timing it was a bit harder to predict. But it was going to be, I called it Tsunami 2.0, even bigger wave. And that's the whole combination of move to cloud infrastructure, but also SaaS solutions, even for SAP S4 as well, single tenant, multi-tenant. There's going to be an enormous wave that, frankly, the biggest issue that all customers and consulting firms will have in SAP is frankly around talent, because there's going to be such a massive wave of opportunity hitting us over the next 12 to years, frankly, to come, that it's going to be very difficult to manage the workload.
And just order of magnitude in terms of size of the prize, number of clients, can any of you share some of your thoughts on TAM?
I think you could easily say that over even 7 to 10 years, you're talking hundreds of billions of dollars worth of business. I mean, it's humongous.
Yeah, I think when you look at SAP's install base of just ERP alone, it's roughly 60,000 customers plus, and they're adding new ones every day. And as those customers move from their traditional ERP environments to S/4HANA, those are the times, there's tremendous business benefit there, and as they do that migration, that is the opportune time to move to the cloud, because you oftentimes need to do a hardware refresh, you may not have the skills in-house, so getting a managed service where you get the services and the cloud all in a turnkey migration, we're seeing those things just go hand in hand.
Fantastic. I mean, it's incredible when you think about the size of the wave that you did predict it, and we're about to surf it with our clients and collectively as a collaboration with SAP. It seems like there are a lot of offerings that are being built, around these hosted SAP on GCP solutions. And I was wondering, Pavan, given the role that you play in terms of market facing, how is Deloitte with Google's teams, how are we helping customers move to GCP so that they can take advantage of not only the services that are there today, but what Kevin and the team are shaping for tomorrow?
Yeah, and so there are multiple stages of clients and their transformation journey and our offering associated with it. So there's a set of clients who are doing a lift and shift, essentially just taking their existing workload and moving it to the cloud to take the benefit of cloud platform. And then there are other set of clients who are just migrating from their traditional databases to leverage the in-memory HANA platform, HANA databases from SAP. We consider mostly this as lift and shift or technology upgrade. So we have acquired a new solution in the market called Atadata, which helps us take these solutions and do a mass scale migration. In fact, we have built a mass migration factory internally that does this very quickly using all the automation and script around it. The second part of conversation that we are having with our client is, which is I think predominantly happening right now, is S/4HANA greenfield implementation, because a lot of our clients are thinking that's the best way to start, leaving all the legacy behind. So we have built our architecture, artifacts, solutions, to help them set up, install, run SAP on GCP, but also take the conversation away from just the IS space to platform as a service, and how we can leverage other feature function of Google platform, such as APIs, as well as machine learning and BigQuery and analytics, which is a game changer here. So those are the major areas and major set of options that we are bringing to the client. How we are helping our client, obviously, it's a combination of having a right SAP skill as well as having a right GCP and platform skills, cloud native app development skills and infrastructure skill and architecture skill. We are training and certifying hundreds and thousands of people in our US as well as in our India practice to get ready to help this tsunami that Jan is talking about. So definitely that's where we are working mostly.
Perfect. You touched on lift and shift and migration and the importance of enabling tools to get there. And you mentioned Atadata. I'm not sure the audience really knows what that stands for or what it means. And I also think it's very complementary to Vellustrata acquisition by Google. So it's worth probably a couple of sound bites on that from some of you on the panel.
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about Atadata. Essentially, it is anywhere to anywhere. So you move from any combination of your source platform to any combination on any of the cloud platform you can go with. It is basically take the application as a container and move exactly as it is. And if you want to transform while you're doing, there are a certain level of transformation is also possible. For example, you are changing your operating systems. Those things can be handled as part of the Atadata tool. And Kevin, if you want to talk a little bit about the Vellustrata.
Sure, and Vellustrata complements that by enabling you to essentially shadow your environment on-prem and into the cloud, or if you're running on another cloud and you need to change the hypervisor to run natively on GCP. So really, the two work together to really make the migration more seamless for customers.
Perfect. I want to dig a little bit deeper in some of the previous points, again, bringing the SAP context to life. So how is Google really helping SAP and their clients? You talked about the massive install base. Really embrace not only the technologies that we see today that are available today, that they still need to move to that, but also that are going to define the next wave of technology advancements that you talked about the portfolio play of Alphabet, Google, and bringing that to bear, but the other wave of technology advancements that are right in front of us.
Yeah, what we see is that it's happening, this wave is happening in kind of a multi-horizon journey. So customers are saying, I want to move my existing ERP landscape, as an example, or other SAP products into the cloud as phase one. I want to get the TCO reduction, and I want to get the agility. But then in phase two, once I actually have all the data in one place, how do I now leverage that data for better insights and actually transform my business process and create new business models? And so in phase one, what we're seeing is that as customers move, one of the biggest things, the benefits they see in moving to Google Cloud is not only our price performance, and there's ample analyst data that we have the best price performance, but it's about reliability, security, and network. So from a reliability perspective, again, lots of analyst data that we have the best uptime, which is so critical when you're running mission critical solutions like SAP, because when SAP shuts down, the business shuts down. Yep. And from a security perspective, it's some of the most sensitive data, whether that's financial data, customer data, et cetera. And so this ability for our cloud to be the security that we deliver, there's a lot of uniqueness to that, in that we build every part of the hardware stack, and we have a root of trust chip built in so that we can ensure the security. In fact, many of you are familiar with recent security vulnerabilities at the chipset with like Scepter and Meltdown. Google actually identified those vulnerabilities, patched it, and announced it to the world. So security is one of the key differentiators. And then from a network perspective, not only the network performance, but we have the largest network in the world, and we have actually enough fiber under the ocean and so forth to support a 400% growth in the network required. If the internet grew 400%, we have enough network. And that, we're not stopping there. And so this is tremendous scale. This is the same scale of all the Google products you know and love today brought to enterprise mission critical systems. We spent over $30 billion on investment in order to deliver the market leading platform. And then as customers move to the second wave of their journey, leveraging market leading capabilities like TensorFlow machine learning and BigQuery analytics, enables customers to not only just harvest insights, but actually start to come up with completely new business models.
Yeah, I was in the leadership circle yesterday, and it was great to see PH kind of articulate the journey that our customers have to go on, very much in line with what you described. So for those of you who maybe have missed that, we can connect you to that methodology and approach. It's simple yet hard to do. I do want to come to, and by the way, I'm still lobbying to see Google's Navy, which includes ships and submarines. In case you didn't know, it's public, but we're trying to get that invite maybe to a lucky winner in the audience. We can make that happen. What is, and by the way, my son really wants to do that, age 11. He thinks Google is very cool. Deloitte Open Cloud, also very, very cool, and another enabling technology that we have. Can you share a little bit about what is Deloitte Open Cloud? How does it work? Why is it easy to consume for enterprise clients? Either Pavan or...
Yeah, so essentially, Deloitte Open Cloud is a framework that we have developed with a future in the mind. As we are moving into cloud space, a lot of our clients would, whether we like it or not, would be into a multi-cloud environment. And we would see some application running at one cloud, another would be running in another cloud. So our open cloud really provides a framework to manage and give a single pane of glass for all the applications running at different clouds. So there is a cloud-to-cloud integration. There are all the essential services aspect of managing a platform of any of the public cloud provider. Anything that is essential from DevOps, automation, infrastructure management, logging, monitoring, security, reporting, and billing solutions around it, as well as we move to the second layer of PaaS layer, we will have to manage the custom-built app as well. So Deloitte Open Cloud is our branded offering in the market to manage any of the application from top to bottom, end to end, as a managed services platform.
And maybe speak to the contractual element. Why is it easy? Why isn't it an easy contracting mechanism for clients?
So what we are doing is, instead of client going to an SI or a provider for services, going to a cloud provider for subscription, our open cloud allows you to have a single place or single shop, go through Deloitte. We have done all the contracting behind the scene with major cloud providers such as Google Cloud. And essentially, we are the front to the client, a single SLA-based offering to the client. So essentially, we take the ownership of providing the SLA based on Google Cloud Platform, managing end-to-end. Not only that, even if tomorrow you want to extend and enhance, you are just dealing with us from all the way to application tier to the infrastructure management, as well as the infrastructure itself, right? So this essentially simplifies the transformation journey that we are talking about. And not only that, Kevin touched upon having more of a bare metal options. So we are also extending this through other networking solutions to extend our open cloud to a bare metal option as well.
I mean, making it easy to consume is critical, and being able to meet the client wherever their needs are is critical. So Open Cloud does that. Jan and I think Kevin as well. We're here in sunny, beautiful California, but the global frame is really important. You're our global leader for SAP. What are some of the nuances around the world that you're seeing around the demand for this service, SAP on GCP, and also predictions to that extent? Where are you seeing innovation out there that we can bring here to there? Just curious what you both see. Yeah,
so twofold, I guess, right? One is, in the old days, I mean, old as in up until 2-3 years ago maybe, something new would come along and we would do a massive project or something, right? And then, eventually 18 months down the road or something, you would deliver this, right? If you see now, actually, it's sort of like the opposite. Eventually you'll deliver something big at the end, maybe too. But along the way now, there's a lot of things you already can do. So already came up like lift and shift. You can do that now. You don't have to wait until the journey is complete to S4. You can just take what you have now and already go for a lower TCO as well. But that's sort of like the cloud migration piece, which in itself will be huge, of course, right? But then if you look at like IoT-enabled supply chain, there's an enormous interest around that. And of course, if you look at AI and machine learning, and there as well, it's not just about waiting to design this around S4 only. There are certain things where there's a business case to do that along the way, even where there's sometimes massive opportunity for savings with specific business processes to utilize standard SAP scenarios around Leonardo as an example, but in combination with Google makes it even more powerful. And what you see is, I think over the next year and years, is a combination of SAP making investments, Google making investments, firms like Deloitte making investments. We're going to see enormous possibilities along the way.
And I know you were just in Europe last week, trying to get a feel for that landscape versus APJ versus here in the US, what either you guys are seeing in terms of pipeline demand, conversion, different consumption types.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the reasons why way back when I predicted a tsunami was for multiple reasons, right? One is the first sign of tsunami is water level recedes. You see the investment in all the technology, SAP ECC is an example, drying up, and then of course, new wave forming, but also a tsunami, it sort of ripples, of course. And somehow in the US, because of maybe the economic cycle as well, but just businesses maybe a bit more willing to invest in new things immediately. Europe a bit more cautious maybe, Asia Pac a little bit in between. But what you see now is that ripple effect where I've used to get phone calls from people in Europe like, hey, Jan, you talked about tsunami, when is it hitting us? And I was like, well, it's coming. They're like, well, it's not here yet, it's not here yet. And then all of a sudden you get the panicking phone calls asking for resources and help and assistance because all of a sudden the pipeline explodes, right? And that's sort of the phase we're in right now where the pipeline has been building up. The big projects about to start, some of them already started. That's the phase we're in if you look at EMEA and Asia Pac that's coming as well.
Perfect. And Kevin, I know you and I were in Canada several months ago, and then we had our teams in Europe pushing pretty hard on GCP and SAP on GCP, some of the things that you're seeing from the Google perspective.
Yeah, I would say that when you think of SAP on GCP globally, we're seeing adoption happen throughout the globe, but there's certain countries where we're seeing the adoption happen faster. As Jan mentioned, the US, clearly, UK, we're starting to see a big uptick in areas like France and in Germany and in the Benelux region, as well as, I'd say, Australia and Japan. That's where we probably see the largest set of opportunities right now. But like I said, this is really spreading. As Jan mentioned, it is a tsunami. We're seeing it spread to a number of other countries. And one of the things that's going to be so important is just for customers to really prioritize and be ahead of the curve, because I think one of the biggest challenges I see is the services partner community needs to ensure that the scale and the people are on the ground in order to help with these. So planning ahead is really important in this journey.
Yeah, and I mean, that brings a great point around potential friction or bottlenecks that we might have, or capacity constraints that we might have, whether they're human or technology related. Maybe some comments on the early innings, where you're seeing the friction points, what's slowing this tsunami from hitting faster versus it taking its due course.
So one of the things, more and more countries around the world are expecting their data to stay in country. The data sovereignty issues have become pretty significant around the globe, not just in Europe, but in Asia and Latin America and so forth. And so we're putting up new availability zones. As I mentioned, we've put $30 billion in infrastructure. We're putting up new availability zones. New data centers pop up literally every month. We have now 50 availability zones around the globe. And so from our side, that's extremely important to be able to serve customers locally and ensure the data sovereignty requirements.
Perfect. Pavan, I'm curious, there are a lot of options for clients as to service providers, right, that they could potentially choose. So what is the Deloitte difference here? I spent time in Sapphire, the latter stages of my career, the last couple, 2-3 years because of Google. And that's one impressive showing that we have there in terms of the Pinnacle Awards. But what makes us different? Why us to take you on the cloud journey to GCP?
Yeah, so there are various reasons that we are at the top and one of the leading system integrator. But I'll touch upon a couple of points here. First is, if you look at analyst report and if you look at our awards and recognition, we've been getting the Pinnacle Award for last multiple years. In fact, this year we also got the Leonardo Partner of the Year Award, which is exceptionally, well for us, that proves our ability into the space of machine learning and cloud platform. Also, Google's recognition for us as a Partner of the Year and our partnership around going after digital transformation with SAP. So a lot to talk. We're not talking, but our analysts are talking. Everybody's talking that we do have a pole position in the market to help our clients go through this journey. In fact, we have the most number of successful S/4HANA implementation on any cloud platform. We have the most number of solution that is built around Google Cloud Platform. So definitely that's one area. Second area is our talent pool. I mean, more than 18,000 SAP practitioners, and thousands of them has been certified on SAP as well as on Google Cloud Platform. In fact, we have more than 200 practitioners who are certified together with SAP and Google Cloud Platform, which is a unique skill that we need to bring for all of SAP clients when we are talking about business case to implementation to migration to operate business. So, and we are certifying more into our talent pool. We are making a lot of acquisition, which is more related to this SAP and the cloud specific area. And the last point, I think, which is the most important, is the innovation. I think we have the most number of industry use case and business use case that will deliver value to our client. How best you can leverage the capability of a cloud platform, such as Google Cloud Platform or versus SAP Cloud Platform running on a Google Cloud Platform. We have created more number of assets and that really solve the business problem or extend the features functionality for digital core beyond just the digital core using those cloud platforms. So those innovations are really making us leader in the market to help client. And those are the real reason that anybody would choose us over other SI to help them. If you have time, I would definitely talk about an innovative solution that we have built and maybe show you a short demo around it. What we call it is, it's an automated invoice management solution, which is built on using Google Cloud Platform capability as well as SAP Leonardo capability, starting all the way from getting the invoice and processing it and all the way going up to the payment. And that is a solution that we are productizing and commercializing and taking to the market along with Google and SAP together. Essentially what it does is it uses Google Cloud Platform Storage Unit, it uses Google Vision API, as well as TensorFlow model using Google AutoML, machine learning, at the front of it. And at the back end for GIIR clearing and the payment part of it, it is using SAP Leonardo component. So essentially really bringing the power of our business knowledge along with the Google Cloud Platform capability and SAP capability together. So if you are interested, I can definitely play a demo. It's a very short demo.
Are you interested? That's all. I think there's general.
All right, that's good.
Let's get this thing going.
Let's get going with the demo.
I'm going to come back to you, Kevin, I promise.
So essentially, as you can see, it's going to run fast. You have an option of scanning an invoice, viewing an invoice when invoice is created in SAP. Here we are looking at currently, as you can see the bucket, there is no invoice left. So we are picking a paper copy or email or scanned copy right now. So you can see this is an invoice, right? And apparently we'll use Google Vision API to scan this invoice, and the OCR characters will be read through using Google API. And behind the scene, the AutoML is running, which is really getting smarter as you keep, scanning more and more invoices. So as you can see, we are just uploading the invoice at this point of time, and it says successfully uploaded. Now, if you go to look at the bucket, you should be able to see a new invoice appearing there. There you go. So the actual physical copy has been scanned, stored into the Google Cloud Platform. And now we are going to look at the invoice. So this is where the AP clerk can look at the actual physical invoice and the data that has been read through the scanner Vision API and see if there is any correction needed. You can also see that green bar on the top which says the confidence factor is 92%, which means the ML is working behind the scene and intelligently trying to read the characters of invoice. At this point of time, you can make correction if it is needed, but hoping that as machine learning gets smarter, you don't have to make a lot of corrections here. So this is the physical copy coming from there, and this is on the left side, you would see what machine learning and Vision API was able to read through. So if you go to the bottom, you can have a submit button, and as soon as you press the submit button, it's going to go to SAP and create the invoice. So let's see what it does there. So it's just showing you the different values, unit price, quantity, amount, and press the submit button. It says you want to submit it, yes, and it's going to create invoice. So 7381, let's remember the invoice number here, long number. And now we're going to go back to the tiles in the front, which is a Fiori app. And now we are logging into SAP and searching if the invoice has been created. So then you're going to type the same numbers, press go. There you go. If you can see, the invoice is already posted. And if you click on it, it is going to show you the invoice. And remember, it has some metadata, which is a hyperlink going back to Google Cloud Storage and reading all the data from there. You see in the bottom, the attachment link is there, so you can definitely open a physical copy from the same screen there. So you can imagine all you did is you just press one click called submit, and that's it. The invoice is already created there. And I think there's one step if you are really about the old way of doing things, logging directly into the SAP GUI, you can run your mirror transaction, go for the company code, and it is going to show you if that invoice is already created there. Just to make sure that, yes, Fiori app in the front or in the back end, you can log in and you can see both the invoices are created. This used to be a big issue. You have to develop the whole OCR capability, go through a document management solution, but leveraging Google capability, you can do that very easily. And the subscription cost for Vision API and Google ML is very low cost model as compared to any other solution.
I think one thing that's unique too is versus the OCR approaches of the past is this learns over time. So as these new invoices formats come to you every day, it's learning and it's adapting on the fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of it, that your effort keeps going down as you keep going further down. All right, so that's a demo.
Oh, I love it. Well, we'll go to the audience here in a minute for questions. I do want to come back, Kevin, to the ability to co-engineer with Google. One of the things that was appealing to the Deloitte team, I think, was this idea of co-engineer, co-create, and innovate. And so can you maybe share some of the ways that people like Deloitte as well as customers can co-innovate, co-create with you? We saw a solution here that I know our team worked with your team to get it done, but share that.
Absolutely. I think one classic area of that is in the areas of machine learning on how we can optimize business processes. And there's some examples right now where we're co-creating, let's say, with SAP and joint customers. For example, in retail, we have customers, we're working together with a furniture company that wants to bring and essentially do image search against all their catalogs. So I can take a picture of a desk and it matches against what what pictures in the data file within the SAP catalog. There's a lot of work that goes into that. It takes an army of data scientists. It takes a lot of time. With AutoML, together with our engineers in AutoML, we simplified that so it can literally be done in hours, what would take weeks or months, and it's at a fraction of the cost. And so these are the kind of things we're doing together with joint customers. We're working with customers that want to take Google Shopping trends information and enrich that into their SAP assortment planning process so that you have a richer assortment planning process that takes into account all of the trends that are happening in the market. We have customers that we're working with to take our ad tech content, our rich profile and propensity to buy information, and pull that together with SAP's omni-channel solutions so that we can do things like do precision marketing. When you're doing marketing, it's only as good as the target market that you've identified. And so these are the kind of things we're doing in order to really help customers get to completely new innovative business processes.
Yeah, I think at least my experience has been the ability to bring the different pieces of Google Cloud, which is phenomenal, and then Google itself, which is bigger, and then Alphabet more broadly is really second to none. So it's been great to see how you orchestrate that on your side with important partners like us, but also critical customers. So